Hello everyone, my name is Parusha and today I'll walk you through my forensic analysis I conducted on the pcap file p1.pcap, and it contains clear evidence of confirmed password stealing Trojan that compromises a Windows 11 workstation, and this report is classified as a restricted. So let's move on. Let's move on to the next slide. So this is the investigation. So starting with the overview, after the thorough packet level examination, I identified an active InfoStealer Trojan operating on the monitored network segment. Here is the key numbers of the entire attack took in the 5 minutes evidence from 22.51 to 22.56 UTC. The capture contains 1049 packets, overwhelming TCP at 998 packets with 41 UDP and 10 ARP. My automated threat detection flagged 17 distinct events, which are 10 rated critical, 4 high, and 2 mediums, and 1 informational. Most importantly, the 8 sets of authentication credentials were stolen from the victim's machine and spamming corporate e-commercial and social media and email. Now let's look at how the attack actually unfolded. What remarkable is that the entire company completely in like roughly 35 seconds across the 4 stages. First was payload retrieval phase. The infected workstation contracted the domain with savory.com.bd and downloaded a file called ztv.fo.png file. This was like 664 kilobyte file with a PNG image, but when I inspected the header info, it did not match the mandatory PNG signature. The file was actually executable, like disguised as an image to bypass a content filters. And then later the Trojan performed network fingerprinting by querying api.ipifi.org, a legitimate IP lookup service, to discover the victim public IP. This is a very common reconnaissance technique to use the credential theft. And the third is credential harvesting phase. The malware enumerated locally through the passwords from two applications, Mozilla Thunderbird for email credential and Fire like Microsoft Edge Chromium built in a password manager. It collected 8 distinct credential pairs in totally. The Trojan packet everything into HTML email and send it through the SMTP port 587 on the server, which is webhostbox.net, using the hijacked mailbox directly to the attacker's email at thing. Then let's move on to the next slide. It's about the victim's endpoint and threat detectors. So on the left hand side, you can see the full profile for the compromised endpoints, which I reconstructed from EHLO banners, SMTP headers, and exfiltration email body. This machine is named as a desktop Win11 PC running Windows 11 on an Intel i5 processor. Its LAN address is 192.168.1.27 and public facing WAN address is 173.66.46.112. And on the right hand side, I have mapped out the hostile infrastructure. The payload was distributed from IP, that is savory.com.bd, and then SMTP relay used to exfiltration was at 204.11.58.28 IP, which is again the webhostbox.net, and the Trojan authenticated with the hijacked account at marketing at transgear.in and sent all the stolen data to the attacker's inbox at arhitk.com. At the bottom, you can see the weaponized URL, the full path to fake the PNG file, and which actually the Trojan payload served over the unencrypted HTTP. Now move on to the credentials compromised and the 8 accounts. Here it shows the 8 credential pairs. So look at the entry 1 and 2 came from the Mozilla Thunderbird, and these are the IMAP and SMTP password for the admin email account. The remaining entries 3 through 8 were extracted from Edge Password Manager, which is actually like particularly concerning is the range of service affected is like Coca-Cola login portal, LinkedIn, Target, the New York Times subscriptions, and all compromised. and the passwords shown are visible in the plain text with exfiltration email, and it highlights a critical risk because browser saved password provide a single point of failure. Once the Trojan has accessed, it harvested everything in seconds. Let's move on to the payload and SMTP forensic evidence. Let me guide you through more details. On the left hand side, the payload analysis for the file ztvfo.png was 664,576 byte. It advertised like Mimi type was image, but leading byte was like this, so do not match the accepted PNG header. And this confirms that it was an executable, not an image. And I have also computed the MD5 hash for the threat intelligence cross the referencing. And on the right hand side, the SMTP channel detailed the Trojan used port 587 on the webhostbox.net, authenticating with the base 64 encoded password, and the subject followed by the pattern pw underscore username slash hostname is the same known for the agent Tesla, Hawkeye, and Snake Logger malware families. And again, the SMTP session used no TLS encryption, meaning the stolen credential was transmitted in clear. Now move out to the final, like I have documented the key Wireshark filter used to isolate each phase was filtering the payload server IP, the HTTP URI containing PNG, DNS queries for malicious domain, TCP ports, and the full SMTP session. I have also created a custom Python Scapy automation script that parses the PCAP file and automatically extract the statistics, everything, including the missing TLS encryption. And finally, my remediation roadmap is organized into three phases. First, phase one is immediate workstation and resetting the all 8 passwords, enabling MFA and blocking the hostile IPs. And the phase three is preventive hardening, setting up SMTP alert, DNS layer security application, and in conclusion, the packet evidence is unambiguous. A password stealing Trojan successfully compromised and production workstation and exfiltered 8 credential sets within the second. And that's all for my first PCAP demo. Thank you so much for listening. Have a good day.